Hello, today we're going to be multiplying matrices together. So I highly suggest you watch part 1 if you haven't already, because that tells you if matrices can be multiplied together. Today we're actually going to multiply them. So buckle up, it's going to be a big one. Just as a quick recap, just remember the order we multiply matrices matters. So always check if the multiplication is possible before even starting. Now I don't want to waste my time in a test. So first of all, I'm just going to check, is this question even possible? Do the columns in the first matrix equal the rows in the second matrix? Well, it's a 1 by 2 on the left, a 2 by 1 on the right. If I compare the columns and the rows together, they are the same, so I can multiply, and now I can start the steps. So when multiplying matrices, the first thing we want to do is correctly line up the matrices so they're easier to understand. Then we want to multiply the elements of the first row of the first matrix with the first column of the second matrix, and once we've times them together, we add them all up. And finally, we repeat this until we've multiplied every row of the first matrix with every column of the second matrix. Now, I know this sounds complicated, but it's actually a lot easier than what you read here, so I'll just show you how it works. Okay, here are the matrices I showed you earlier on, so I know they're compatible. I know the columns in the first matches the rows in the second, so they can be multiplied. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get rid of the multiply sign, and then, by lining the matrices up like this, it'll make our process way easier to understand. Now, if you look closely, we've got one row in the first matrix and one column in the second matrix. That means the answer is just going to have a 1 by 1 as a result. So this is what we do. We take the first number in the first row and multiply it with the first number in the first column. So we're going to multiply 1 and 3 together. So 1 times 3, that's 3. The next thing we do is we take the next number in the first row and multiply it by the next number in the next column. So we're going to go 2 by 4. We're going to write that down here. Now, the final answer is going to be these two added together. So 1 times 3 plus 2 times 4 gives me 11. So the result for this matrix multiplication is going to be 11. Now this was a really simple example, okay? We only had one row with one column, but this same idea applies to any matrix size. Let me show you in another example. Alright, new example, 2 matrices here. Before we even start, let's do a quick check. We got a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. The columns in the first match the rows in the second. Hey, we can multiply them. Let's get started. Okay, so I've aligned the matrices how I want them, and this will give me a 2 by 2 grid answer, because we can see that because there's 2 rows here and 2 columns, we're going to have a 2 by 2 answer. That means there's 4 things we need to work out. So if I want to work out this answer here, where my cursor is, I have to multiply the first row with the first column. Likewise, if I want this answer here, whatever number that is, it'll be the first row with the second column. Wherever these line up is where your answer will be. So this one here, this number, if you want to figure out what that is, you multiply the second row with the first column, because that's where they line up. And finally, you wanted to find this position here, you multiply the second row with the second column. That's how you get that. So keep that in mind, guys. If there's ever a blank position, just find where the two things line up, and that's the number you work out. So let me show you how to actually do this. So first of all, we're going to multiply the first row with the first column. So I'm going to multiply 1 and 4 together, and then I'm going to multiply 2 and 1 together, and if I add those up, I get 6. So then I put 6 in the first spot. For the next one, I want to multiply the first row with the second column. So 1 times 0, which is 0, plus 2 times 2, which is 4, which gives me 4. So I'm going to put 4 in that position there. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is multiply the second row with the first column. So 3 times 4 will give me 12, and then I'm going to add 4 times 1, which will give me 4. So 12 plus 4 is 16. So that will go right there. Now finally, to do the last one, I'm going to do 3 times 0 plus 4 times 2, and we work that out, it's 8. So there we go. That's our answer. We just multiplied a 2 by 2 matrix with a 2 by 2 matrix, and we got a 2 by 2 result. All right, you're really going to get your head around this if you actually just practice and try it for yourself. So could you please pause the video and see if you can multiply these two matrices together? If it is possible to multiply them, make sure you line them up correctly. That'll help you work out your answer. All right, pause it, give it a go. Okay, so let's try to work this out. First of all, we have a 1 by 2 with a 2 by 2. Comparing the two inside numbers here, they're the same, so we can multiply this. So let's line this up. Okay, now that it's lined up, we can see that we're going to end up with a 1 by 2 matrix for our answer. So there's two operations we have to do here. So we're going to multiply the first row with the first column. So 1 times 3 plus 0 times negative 1 is going to give me 3. So I put that answer there. Now the next thing I want to do is multiply the first row with the second column. So 1 times 1 is 1, plus 0 times 0 is 0, so the number there is 1. So that's the answer you should have got if you lined up the matrices correctly. Alright, same idea. This one's going to be a little more work, but please pause the video, give it a go. Alright, let's get into it. So this is a 2 by 2 matrix on the left, a 2 by 2 on the right. Look at the inside numbers, they're the same. Let's go ahead. So the next thing we want to do is line up our matrices correctly. Now that the matrices are lined up, we can see this is going to be a 2 by 2 answer. So we're going to need to do 4 operations to work this out. So first things first, first row with the first column. 1 times 3 plus 0 times 2 is going to give us 3. So we put that in the first position. The next thing we want to do is the first row with the second column. So 1 times 0 plus 0 times negative 1 is going to be 0. Awesome. Looking good so far. Alrighty, the next thing we want to work out. We want to do the second row with the first column. So 2 times 3 plus 5 times 2 is going to give us 16. And for the last step, all we need to do is the second row with the second column. So this is going to give us 2 times 0 plus 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. And that's it. We've worked it out. Well done. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions at all, please let me know in the comments below. Apart from that, hope you have an awesome day.